Hi, how's it going? This video blog is going to be a personal one to me. It's going to be me talking about the year 2010 and how it was for me. A reflection, if you will. So if this is something you think you might not be interested in, then by all means, give this post a miss. Or you can take a look at the previous post which I did relating to these new eyeballs that I have. You can take a click on the annotation here, or I'll put a link down below with all the doobly-doo. Right, let's get things started, shall we? 2010. I'd say it had a great start. It carried on in great strength, but halfway through towards the end, it turned into a little bit of a negative experience. Here are some of the positive points of 2010. At the start of the 2010, I just returned from Argentina, tired but satisfied with my trip, and I still had the desire to carry on with my Spanish speaking skills. And so I did. I went back to my Spanish teacher to carry on doing private lessons, and I went back to the Intercambia group which I joined the year before, and I managed to find a guy from Spain who was wanting to carry on helping me develop my Spanish speaking skills in exchange for developing his English speaking skills. A one-to-one type thing, which is a really good and positive thing to do. What else? I continued to plow through my 101 things and 1001 days list, which was something I picked up from the Day Zero project, and I was knocking off items left, right and centre, including the time I went to visit my friend in Germany, and that was some pretty good times, and I continued to carry on with this list. One thing which arguably could be a bit of a downer, but it was still good fun and I really enjoyed myself, was all these girls that I'd met throughout the first half of the year, doing little dates, including that speed dating event which I did. And after 2 tries, I managed to get myself 2 dates from it. 2 dates from the actual experience. Granted, they both ended in failure after the first or second date, and I never saw those girls ever again. But I really had fun and I enjoyed myself just rambling on like an idiot. And I'd like to think I'd learned something from those experiences. I'd like to think that I did. Yeah. But one of the highlights of 2010, for me at least, was the festivals that I went to. The 2 music festivals that I went to. Download Festival and the Bilbao BBK Rock Festival. I had such a great time at these 2 festivals. One of the big highlights was all the bands I managed to see. Stone Temple Pilots, Faith No More, Alice in Chains. Who else? Pearl Jam, Skunk Anansie, Feeder. All these bands from the 90s which I got to see live, and a couple of them see it live again. It was a great chance for me to rekindle my 90s music youth. Not only was the music absolutely great, but it was the entire festival camping experience. It was absolutely top notch, which I enjoyed a lot. The people I was hanging out with and the people I'd made friends that day, each and every single one I'd met, I just want to thank you for making my times great at these festivals, and I hope you enjoyed them as much as I did. These are a couple of the good points which happened to me the year 2010. There might be some points which I might have forgotten in this post, but it doesn't mean that they are no less enjoyable. And then around about August onwards, it kind of went sour. By this point, I was getting a bit too comfortable with my life, and especially around work, I was getting bored. And by this point, I was wanting to do something. I wanted to try something different and stimulate my mind and just progress in some way. So I took it upon myself to take on extra pet projects at home to develop my programming skills. Things like Ajax, jQuery, the front-end web programming side of things. And I also took on myself to become a bit of an agony aunt, coming across my friends that I have and trying to help them out with their problems as much as I possibly could. And then it all started going out of control, and I was trying really hard to juggle all these things, but I failed. I mean, it's understandable really. It's one of those situations of taking on far too much work and not properly looking at the situation at hand and thinking that you're able to do all these things because you're amazing and you think that they're simple. When in actual fact, I think I bit off a lot more than I can chew. throughout the rest of the year, I was trying my hardest to do the right thing, and I was juggling between these different things. I like this juggling analogy. Juggling between all these different aspects which I was working on, trying to make everyone and everything happy. But it got to the point where I was losing focus, and I was focusing on one thing far too much. And then when I realized I was doing that, I tried to go on to the next thing, but then that became difficult in itself, and I was too busy trying to make everyone happy to the point where I wasn't making people happy. I was just, my social life became a bit of a mess. It got to the point where I was having to turn down some of my friends who wanted to see me for whatever reason I was working on at the time, to try and sort something out. And it's been a case where I've really upset one of my friends. I mean, brought them to tears upset. And despite what people might think about me, I don't like making people cry. It's not in my nature. And it wasn't just other people in these projects which were suffering because of my poor timekeeping. It was myself. I was neglecting myself during this time as well. I mean, it got to the point where I stopped going to the gym and stopped exercising to try and cram all these things in together. And I'd stopped looking after my food intake and my diet. I'd started eating crap and fell off the bandwagon of this chocolate thing. And understandably, I became fatter and more unhealthy. Also, during this time of being out of control, my finances became out of control. I started spending money like there was no tomorrow, and now I've accumulated a bit of a dent on my credit card, which I am not feeling very comfortable about. Plus, my mind. Not only did I feel my body was degrading, but my mind was degrading too. And one of the things which stuck out for me was my Spanish. Towards the end, the quality of my language was going down, and all the people I was speaking Spanish to, they noticed this, and they point this out on a quite regular basis. And the simple reason why, more than anything else, was because I stopped practicing. I'd stopped focusing on the language, and it suffered because of it. And all these things combined just makes you feel really bad and unhappy about yourself. And don't get me started on the stress and all these things always focusing on my mind, and the stress of the whole situation was building up and up and up because I just didn't know how to just contain the whole situation, and everything I was doing seemed to make things worse no matter how hard I tried to fix it. And so yeah, that's pretty much what happened around the second half of 2010. I mean, I've got to admit, all these problems I have are not particularly huge at the end of the day, and they are simple problems which can be fixed. So that's a bit of a roundup of my 2010. Great start, carried on through, and then towards the end it kind of went bad. But, you know, these things just happen. What can you do about it? Oh God, I can't take any more of this! I can't stand myself whining and complaining about this kind of crap that's been going on! Whine all the freaking time. Well, you know what? I can't take this anymore, and I'm gonna do something about it. Next year, this year, 2011, is gonna be a hell of a lot better than it was last year, and I'm gonna make some changes because I have the power to change my life. And for all those people out there who's had a bad 2010 for one reason or another, it might be something minor, it could be something major, but the fact of the matter is 2011 is going to be a great year, and you have the power to change it. Whether you have the power to change it by yourself, or whether you need support by other people, a support group, your friends, your family, there's no shame in that. But you need to make the initial change. You need to make the change. I need to make the change in my life. And you know what the first thing I'm going to do to make my life better? I'm going to go back to exercise. I'm going to go back to healthy eating again. Because let me tell you something. When I was exercising and eating right, even was cycling to work, even if it was me jumping around like an idiot, doing aerobic classes at the gym, I felt good about myself. I miss that feeling of feeling good about myself. I want that feeling again. for the past few days, I've been thinking about what I want to change in my life. And I know exactly what I'm going to do. I admit, it's not going to be a quick fix, and it's going to take some time. But it's a simple thing to do, and I can do it! And you can do it! We're gonna do it! Who's with me? Oh yeah! Happy New Year, everyone, and I hope 2011 is prosperous for you.